does the vote win that's in the best interest of the entire network? And have you guys noticed that tends to be the case? I mean, I would imagine 100% of all votes that have passed have been in favor of making a better network. Yes, I'm assuming.
Well, I mean, I think that it's been really effective at rooting out scams, people that are proposing things that, one was a call center that supposedly exists that said, hey, we want to spin up a Dash support center for users to be able to call into. And it turned out the company didn't exist, the people didn't exist. Somebody did the research and figured out this company was not legitimate, and it got voted down. It's very effective at rooting out outright fraud. There's also proposals that are well-intentioned, from well-established community members who fail, right? Like, we can't expect every effort to be successful that the network funds. But the good news there is, hey, we experiment. Some things are successful, some things fail. And the ones that fail, funding gets cut off for in subsequent periods. And the things that are successful continue to get funded. It allows for that level of experimentation without putting huge amounts of capital at risk, because it's on a monthly cycle. Every month you have to justify your cost to the network if you're going to continue to operate as an entity. And so it's really effective at steering the resources towards projects that add value to the network, especially over periods of time. Has everything we've ever done been, turned out really successfully? No. We've had some things that have caused reputational damage or something. But everyone's is voting based on the information they have at the time. And they don't always get it right, but they get it right over long periods of time, when we learn what's effective and we learn what is ineffective use of resources. And so I think that the answer is, it does seem like almost everyone in the system is well-intentioned. They're voting towards their own best interest. And mistakes are made, but ultimately, over time, we get better and better at it as a community. And so I think you can't be afraid of all types of failure. You have to be willing to allow for failure in your network. And, a lot of people wanted to put in place things like, hey, we'll only pay you if you meet certain milestones. We'll only pay you if, and really overcomplicate the governance system such that we're micromanaging the tasks that they're doing and approving of every single output. And I think that's going overboard. First of all, nobody has time to micromanage individual decisions within a bunch of different organizations serving the network. And even if we did, that just discourages people from taking on those projects in the first place. If I know I'm only getting paid if, a risky endeavor that I'm going to pursue actually pans out the way that I hope that it will, I'm not going to put a proposal up to the network in the first place, because, I'm not going to take that risk on myself as a contributor. And so I think that you just have to allow people to fail. Just make sure that you have the mechanism to cut off the funding if it doesn't look like it's going in the right direction. And so I think that there's a strong tendency in these communities, especially developer-oriented communities, to try to engineer solutions to risk and human failure and, leadership and these types of things you can't engineer. And so I think that you have to allow a great deal more flexibility in your system than you're probably comfortable with, to allow things to fail. It's important that things fail, because if you aren't failing at anything, you aren't taking enough risks and you aren't taking enough calculated risks about the future.
Also, another thing to mention around that is that sometimes it's not failure, it's that people in the network don't always agree on things or have the same priorities. Maybe certain people in the network want to prioritize work around this feature or this geographical area. Meanwhile, others believe in different things. So at some point, maybe something is being funded and maybe they were even executing well, but a bigger percentage of the network decides that that's not a priority right now. So maybe they will pull out the funding, even if the execution was going well, because in the end, it's not just execution. You need to be working on the right things. And because a network like Dash is pretty big and decentralized, there are all types of individuals and organizations taking part in this game. And we don't always agree about things, and that's fine. In the end, everyone has, by participating in the system, you agree that majority rules. Majority of votes, which is masternode, which is coins, more or less, with some nuance. But you agree to that rule, to those rules, and okay, if network don't agree with what you are doing, even if you are doing what you think is right, you'll have to change. It's success and failure is not so black and white sometimes.